How's it going, guys? So finally, we are taking a look at the Versal Night. Oh, sorry. Versal. Am. Sorry, I thought I could read that for a second. I apologize. But we've already started the Versal Night Gundam. We did the unboxing last week, and you guys really wanted to see me paint this because you hate me so much. So we're going to go ahead and try to paint this to the best of my abilities. And I can already see it might be a pain in the butt just from going through the unboxing. But I've got the colors more or less. I've got silvers. I've got pearl whites. I've got gold. We'll see what happens. But this guy's actually pretty neat. I think he's supposed to be an upgraded version of the previous Night Gundam. Maybe he's a new person. How about I read over here? Let's do that. By the will of the great golden god, superior Kaiser, Musha Gundam Mark III is summoned to Sudadoka world from the alternate world of Ark to become the new core unit of the gods. However, he's blocked by a dark emperor and split into the good entity Night Gundam and the evil entity Satan Gundam. I think it's just a story for the whole thing. Night and Satan Gundam, deprived of their memory, not knowing who they are. Night Gundam eventually defeats Satan Gundam to grow stronger as hero of La Croix. He's given the Versal Knight. Okay, so yeah, he's Night Gundam upgraded, more or less. He become more powerful, and he's now Versal Knight. I really would love to read the Legends BB stories. The little comics that come in here aren't exactly helpful, but, you know, if there's an overarching story, I want to see it. So that would actually be pretty awesome. Now, this is Legends BB, as usual. And then you've got Bandai 2015, made in Japan. Bandai logo, Gundam logo. Let's come to the bottom here. As usual, you get the 4 different eyes you can choose from. You've got him in strip down mode. You've got him in full armor mode. You've got what I guess is saying multiple hands. Front and rear of that. The visor can do visory looking things. And he can stand here and do things with a cape, apparently. I don't actually know what it's pointing out there. That's okay. And then you've got here action poses. So, yay, he can action pose things. Oh, that's different. Okay, so that's how that should look. Interesting. So you've got how to swap out the eyes. If you've never done that on an SD, it's not that bad. Actions, weapon, gimmick. Anyways, come around here and you've got he's number 399 in the line. Legends BB. Cha-ching. So I think he was right before we got the Dragon Knight guy. Or Knight Superior Dragon, I think. So this is probably what he became before that. So you got BandaiHobby.net, little image of him right here. And got him doing an awesome attack. I don't know what the heck that is, but that's pretty sweet, not gonna lie. You can easily reproduce Versal Knight by rearranging the Centaur mode in light armor. Simply attempt... Okay. But see, the thing is, you don't use Centaur mode. I even looked at it. You don't. You sort of get one, I guess, from the backpack, because you sort of get some feet there, but I don't understand. So you got strip down mode, this, and then that. I guess that's his Centaur mode. Whatever. Okay, so you come over here, and you've got all of his stuff laid out there very nicely. Actually looking very nice. But see, why does that now look different than the one they showed us a second ago that was all red and gold? Oh well. Come over here, you got do not stick a Versal Knight in your 3-year-old's face. It will blind them. 1,500 yen, so decent price for a good SD. You got the PSPE, it'll do with the toilet, and you've got illustration by Imaishi Susumu. That is a hard one. Right off the bat, it's hard to read that. But, anyways, we love your work, even though your upgraded knight is now upside down. Always have to do it, guys. Always have to do it. So, let's go hit up that build montage. You guys missed the build montage, didn't you? Let's go look at it. guys. It's been a while since I did an SD, and this guy was fun. And by fun, I mean a pain in the butt. Realistically, the parts that were a pain in the butt were the parts I painted, which was almost all of them, realistically. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, some of it was really just absolutely annoying. This chest, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but it was annoying. The lance here, the funny thing is about that lance, that is painted, but you almost can't tell, because it's almost essentially the exact color that the plastic was. So, painting pearl white over pearl white, while seemingly made a difference, it kind of can't tell, I'm not gonna lie. But I really do dig this guy. He's really cool. He came with a buttload of chrome, so you get the chrome shoulder armors, you got all the chrome on the helmet. That's just amazing. And even though this part was in fact cast in a nice metallic silver, I went ahead and painted it, which actually now seems to be showing off some of that reasoning behind that. I don't know. I don't understand. But yeah, this guy is pretty cool. Now, before we really get into him, let's take a look at some of his spare accessories. You have a couple sets of extra hands. It's going to be a little hard to see. I'm going to have to make the same motion. So you get the cool peace sign left hand. That's pretty neat. Always love that. And you can see I just added just a little bit of shading to it, just to make it not straight blue. And I have a spare right fist here for holding things. The reason for this is because of the painted handles on said sword and lance. Really didn't want to slide in there without scraping, so I now use the open thumbs up lance hand for that. Now, I chose to paint the gold parts on here, so on the weapons and then on the sword and stuff like that, I chose to paint that with a nice Tamiya gold. But in case you don't, you do in fact get the foil sheet like we had before, but be wary because you're going to be folding these edges over things. Same thing on the sword, you'll see that in a little bit. And while there's nothing wrong with using those, I really wanted to paint them. It's been a little bit of time since I've painted something with gold, and I just wanted to do that. Now, another thing I want to show off, and we saw this in the unboxing, they do give you everything to get him in like a Pegasus kind of mode, or his extra like horsey or minotaur mode. So you get the rear legs and even the feet. Now, I didn't use them on him because realistically it's not part of this model, but it's fun to have spares. So even if I feel like doing something with them in the future, I totally can. I really do dig that. Alright guys, so kind of how we normally will do, even though we already took a brief look at him, we're going to go ahead and start him out in his bare naked mode, and we've got all of his armor and everything splayed out here. But let's take a look at him by himself. It's actually really nice, and you can see here, even though, you know, he's not a whole lot different than he would have been unpainted, but he's still a decent pearl white in his little bare chesty. Now you can see here I do have some paint on the polycaps under there because I assembled it first. I could have taken the polycaps out, and I was kind of stupid. I could probably clean them up, you know, now after the fact. We'll just see. Now, one thing I hate about this, and it's that it's very hard to panel line on top of painted parts. If I had had a really nice clear gloss, I would have done that, you know, gloss top coat and then gone to panel line with a nice smooth surface. So the panel lines are not perfect, but they are there at least to add depth. Now I've gotten used to very very sharp and snappy panel lines. But one thing I did do here, because he has this cool like chainmail underneath the armor, I did take some shading to that and just did everything else so the star there stands out. Same thing on the shoulder, so they're panel line and shaded. I think one of the only places that doesn't have actual paint is right here on this butt. So this is bare plastic you're seeing here, and even this part here, it's probably got a little bit of bare plastic left on there. That's pretty nice. So virtually everything that isn't blue or red got painted on this guy. I like the face. The head assembles a little bit differently than other SDs. So while they're all similar and have the same kind of gimmick, they don't always assemble the same way. So I've got them with the left turning eyes as usual, but you can also flip-flop and put on his forward-facing eyes, and that's what we're going to go with for the rest of the review. So you can see you just slide that on and off. Now, of course, eyes are stickers. I'm not about to paint that. You do get this cool chrome sticker right here in the center of his forehelmet. Forehelmet. Oh, here's this cool thumbs up hand. So he's like, yeah, thumbs up. All right. So we'll go ahead and start arming him up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and start with some crotch armor. So you do get this cool chrome center cross there. Now, this was supposed to be stickers right here, so it was a chrome sticker with white right in there. I actually think it looks pretty good just doing that in a really nice Tamiya silver leaf with a little bit of panel lining. I think that is actually very clean. One thing I can't seem to screw up is Tamiya silvers. Honestly, they're just too good. So add that on there. Very, very nice. Go with some side skirts. So you got each one here. Panel line just a little bit. It's focusing on his face. Stop focusing on the face. There we go. I probably would add some gray or silver there for fun if I thought about it. But they just tab in right here on the sides. Make sure you squidge them all the way in, because these were painted off of the centerpiece. They got to fight a little bit of paint to totally get in there. So you can see, wraps around nicely. You can actually see a little bit heavier of the actual paint there. So this didn't get any paint, this did. So you can really see the contrast there. And now we have the little bitty butt skirt. So parts of that, I got some runs a little bit right through there. I'm honestly not concerned. So you just tab that in very nicely, like so, and the back skirt, side skirts come together just like that. So from there, I'm going to move up to the chest, and this part really annoys me. Oh, the other thing that annoys me is his lack of wanting to stand. He's got a little bit different legs than normal SDs. So you've got these cool clear red bits. So a few places on this use those. But you can see this thing sort of wants to look red. It's got a very red tint to it compared to even that. And I can't tell why it's like that, except for maybe the red itself is in a way bleeding through the metallic white. Even though there's paint on this, there's paint on the red part. I did that to make sure it was actually not as bad. So it looks to be reflecting red one way or the other. You just got big old tabs and slots right in there. So I had to do a slightly deeper coat on this, and honestly I'm not as happy with it. So this doesn't look like this. You see? So not a clue. I was using two different cans of the same white, so maybe the second go around added a little bit more. This is actually a really good look. Let's see. Leave the hands there. I like it. Okay. Moving up just a little bit more, we'll go to some forearm guards with these cool claws. Very, very nice chrome pieces, except for nubs. So you can't really avoid it, and you also can't avoid fingerprints. So you just got slots and you've got tabs. Just line it up to the best of your ability and slap it on there. And you do the same on the other side, like so. This honestly, these things really remind me of Ronin warriors, the way you could put the armor on them. Just actually in a lot of ways, especially being a knight, very, very similar. Come up to the shoulder armors, which are these pretty cool looking dealies, though they mount very differently than I've ever seen. So you've got all these different spaces and tabs, and they're just going to go on over here. So I bet these shoulders would work for a different knight entirely. And so like you've got these where they're very similar to this setup here. So I'm going to go ahead and just line all that up and try to push it on without anything failing horribly, which who knows, might happen anyways. Okay, so that's on there, and we'll do the same to this side. Really do dig this guy. He's very different from all the other knights that I've done so far, and the fact that he's not silver when I thought he was, the kind of, you know, sorry, you're staring into your soul. Okay, so gonna go ahead and add the other cool shoulder armors. They're almost like a cape slash shield. Now, these things were all chrome. You do get the gold chrome piece there that does insert, and you see really bad nubs right there, and of course on the other side to match. They don't even care. And then you got blue stickers. I wasn't about to try to paint a nice blue color on top of chrome. Would not have happened at all, guys, period. And you just have little circular ball joint hole there. See, I like the inside that's not been totally polished. I kind of like the rough color of that. So you just go ahead and tab that on there. Tab this one on over here. That's much less satisfying click on that one. He's looking up at you. He sees you. He really does. And for the last bit, let's go ahead and throw on his awesome helmet. So the helmet was two halves slapped together, and I seam lined it a little bit, just added a little bit of glue, and then painted over it. Even though most of the seam itself is pretty much covered, you can just barely make it out right across there. So this was a two halves glued together, barely sanded, and then extra bits slapped on. So you got the big chrome ridge here, you got the big chrome ears like Thor, and the visor piece with this big old red crystal in there. And so that does move up and down. It does just tab in on each side, so if you want to remove them, you can. Add just a little bit of shading right through there to make that darker. And then these white parts on the visor are in fact stickers. Wasn't about to paint on the chrome. You do get gold chrome on the V-fin underneath. And look at that light piping just right there. It's just glowing at you. That's awesome. You do actually have a red sticker underneath right there on the V-fin for the main crystal. So let's slap this guy on there. You got the big tab right there. Of course, goes in the big slot on his head. And I'm always wary of this because I'm putting a painted part on over a painted part. So just always want to be careful. Try to line it up and give it a nice little shove. And there he has his awesome knight helmet. Let's go ahead and slap his visor down. Now he means business. That's just so cool. The only thing that bothers me is like the chest needs something. It's kind of plain in and of itself. Like maybe it needed some more silver like right here, but who knows. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at his weapon since I spent so much time doing that. So obviously I didn't see the pictures of this like before I did it, so I just masked off. Like this is the silver that everything was made in. I just masked off this area and gave it a quick spray with the Tamiya Gold. I think it looks pretty good. You can see back here I did a little bit of slop. I don't really care that bad. It's the backside, guys. But let's look at his awesome little sword. Shing. And all of this was painted. So even though it was cast in silver and you're supposed to use stickers, I did not. I painted the gold on there, Tamiya Gold and the Tamiya silver leaf here, masked off for the star, which is actually, you can see a couple spots. I don't care. I think this is fantastic. You even got the pommel down here, which is already nice and painted, and my favorite is dark gray ever for the handle. You've got the jewel that you insert this way because like you gotta have the big side facing up. And I had to add a tiny bit of glue to it so that it was not falling out all the time. So I'm going to put this in his hand because it's just awesome. And once again, using the thumbs up hand to not damage the great paint job on that handle. So he can hold his sword like so. Now I almost had a mishap with some paint thinner. A tiny drop of paint thinner fell on the blade. You can't actually see where it hit. Now this is a tiny scrape right there, I think, from the sheath, but it's not bad. Speaking of the sheath, you can totally plug it in on his butt right there. So you got the tab, and you just plug it on like so. And there he is, pretty much ready to go. Now what sucks is I wish I could get my camera way down here so you can see him like eye to eye. This guy is pretty awesome. Now mind you, he does have SD articulation. You get the elbows there, no real knees to speak of, but you get hip movement like so, and you get some ankle movement like that. But try to get him to stand in an effective manner without falling over is sometimes difficult, especially when you add that backpack. Let's take a quick look at the backpack. Because like I said before, this was already cast in silver. So you see this middle part here is unpainted. So that's the difference between Tamiya Silverleaf and just silver plastic. Silver plastic. And honestly, I'm really digging that silver leaf color. That is just gorgeous. I'm going to be using that a lot more in the future. Now you get the nice wingies here. You get the blue stickers, which are halfway wrap around. So you wrap around one side and you flat the other. Pain in the butt, but didn't really feel like trying to paint that blue. I need to pick up some blue spray paint for things in the future, I think. And yeah. This will look familiar from the regular Night Gundam. You just get the little 3-part cape. That's actually pretty cool. This little metal armor piece that I honestly don't know what it's for. It's just back here for effect. Obviously in chrome, and then sticker added to the side. Now you do get the big old plug right here that goes into his backpack. Well, not his backpack. Goes into his back. Now you're wondering, hey, that's not going to go there, because you got this little ball joint sticking out. So you have to raise the head up just a little bit, tuck it under the helmet, and just plug it right in. And now we've got him with his cool winged and caped backpack. So we're back to the beginning essentially here. And once again, he does not like to stand with that backpack on. But there is actually a way to combat that, and we will look at it here in a minute after we look at his main weapon, his cool lance. And once again, I look at this and I go, how did I paint that? It doesn't even look like I've done anything. Now, once again, I didn't seam line it perfectly, but I did glue the pieces together. If I took more time, I would have filled in the crease a little bit more with some cement and sanded it down. Now, one thing I almost did, because you can tell by looking at this, when you assemble it, these two blades right here should fold into it. That's why there's that nice gap. And if you separate them the way that it's kind of together there, you probably could do it and have each little blade pop out in and of itself. It might be a cool little mod if you own this kit. Now, of course, I skipped out the stickers here and, went with some Tamiya Gold. It's a little bit rough, but masking this thing was both a nightmare and kind of fun. And I think the results are actually pretty good, guys. I'm a little bit proud of myself. That's one of the better masking jobs. That may be right there. Now, I did do the entire inside of that with some gold. It's a little thick in some places where you can see some of the variation in the light. Pommel gets that on there, and you see a little bit of scrapage happening right there on the handle. That's unfortunate, but it happens. I did not bother panel lining this. I probably should, just to give it some harsher lines to designate things. And as always, he can hold this the same way he could hold anything else in the one hand. But yeah, you can't hold both weapons at the same time unless he had two hands, or you're willing to really scratch up your nicely painted handle, which I'm not. So let's set the weapons aside for just a second here, because we're going to put him in his quote-unquote Pegasus mode. So where you had the actual horse legs isn't good enough for Pegasus mode. So go ahead and yank off the backpack, yank off the sheath, and throw it on the floor. So then we want to come up to the backpack, go ahead and remove this. I do believe we remove this. Now we want to rotate the backpack back like so. So that now this that was pointed down is pointed forward. You take the cape, you insert it here. You see a little bit of plastic fatigue happening there from going in and out. And then you take this guy and you put it back on there just like it was, but a new ball joint. It's that new ball joint smell, or whatever. Now, this mode you do lose the sheath, and I think that's pretty stupid realistically. I think they should have given it like a vertical tab, and you could have plugged it into the back of the cape. Would have been pretty awesome, but I'm not in charge. Apparently Bandai is. But instead of plugging it into the back, you plug it into the butt plate, which is why you remove the sword. So this is what they're calling his new Pegasus mode, because these are something like horse feet. Now, the only real benefit here, at least at this point, is that he can stand much easier. And the wings are sort of the wings of a Pegasus. Yeah, no, it's not. Anyways, so but that's pretty much it. And it's at least my job to show you what this thing can do, whether it's smart or stupid or whatever. And I guess you really want to, you can try to plug the sheath into his backpack or his normal back. Not just tab is not quite long enough. I mean, give me somewhere to plug in my sword, guys. Come on. So I guess this is where you want to put in his big old lance. Have him holding that guy like so. So now he's in Pegasus mode. I'm gonna get you. Actually, turn the head down like that, and he looks like a mono eye. That's actually pretty awesome. Okay, it's this lit up more on screen here. Let me try to turn it up a little bit more. Pull the light down. I'm gonna get that to light up. Dang it! There we go. Good enough. I've screwed the whole thing. I don't care. It looks pretty awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna be it for the awesome little SD Versal Knight Gundam. So our fun little Gundam friend. But wait, I just thought about it. This is not all, because he's got other friends and other versions of himself we need to see before we go. And here we have him with his other Knight Gundam friends. So his previous iteration of himself right here is the regular Knight Gundam SD, who's pretty fun in his own right, and honestly, he should probably get a repaint. But I like how the feet are exactly the same, so you see a lot of the tie-ins there. Unicorn Knight, not related, but still pretty awesome. And in his Pegasus mode. And of course, we have our Superior Knight Dragon overlooking all of them. So let's see here. Let's see if we can get a cool shot here, as it were. Let's see. Just awesomeness. Awesome Knight Dragonness. Or Knight Gundamness. Okay, now that's it. This is so cool. I gotta get a picture of this because Knight Gundam is awesome. And you guys should pick this guy up. If you don't want to do all the details, of course you don't have to. But this is what you can do with a little bit of paint, a little bit of masking, stuff like that. So I definitely recommend this guy. It's so good. I recommend any SDs. They're all a lot of fun, especially the Mushas. But yeah. So if you guys like this, or if you guys like this review, make sure you leave me a like down below. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. I do Gunpla stuff all the time. Pretty much my main draw of the channel. We have Shoky Nerdcast coming up again sometime soon after I get that massive thing edited. And of course, I want to thank my Patreons, or my patrons on Patreon. If you don't know about my Patreon, it's going to be down there in the description down below. Help donate, keep the channel going, and you'll get exclusive content, and you might even get a custom Gunpla just for you if you're at the right level. But that's it, guys. And remember, as always, keep on building, you awesome, awesome little knights. See you guys later.